Alright, what's going on, guys? Try back again. Here to bring you another video. This is going to be doing part 2 for my last Q&A leading up to Season 7, Episode 2 for The Walking Dead, The Well. In this one, we're going to lead with a question of who do I fear more, Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones or Negan from The Walking Dead? And if you missed part 1, I'll put the link in the description as well as an annotation here so you guys can check it out. I decided I would cut this Q&A since there was just so many questions, and I want to get to as many of them as I can, with you guys. So this is a really cool one from Team Kang. He says, who do you fear more, Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones or Negan from The Walking Dead? Well, I think Negan is a lot more physically imposing. Negan is a lot more impressive. Negan is a lot scarier. But if I had to be like, which one would I be more scared of if I lived in each world? Now, it depends what they're going to do to you. Negan is pretty brutal. He's going to bash your head in front of everybody. It's embarrassing and everything. And it's going to be bad if you cross him and if you end up losing. So he's definitely something to fear, for sure. But I would say that Ramsay Bolton, I think, is probably more fearsome because he won't kill you quickly. He'll kill you very, very slowly. And he likes to torture people. He's even more psycho than Negan is. He likes to flay guys. It's kind of his deal. It's his thing. He'll cut your skin off, or he'll cut off parts of you, let the rest heal, and then continue. Ramsay's pretty bad. So, in terms of who you'd want to lose to in which world, I think a death from Negan would be much better than a death from Ramsay. So I would be more scared of losing to Ramsay than losing to Negan. However, I do think Negan is more scary in terms of like physically imposing and everything like that. And if they were to go one-on-one, I think I'd probably have to go with Negan. I mean, Ramsay's pretty tough too and everything, and they train with the swords and everything, but Negan's just got that air about him, and he's got Lucille. So I got to go with Negan for that. But you wouldn't want to lose to Ramsay because it would be really slow and your life would suck. There's worse things than death. Being flayed is worse than dying, I'd have to say, I think. Next one's from Brandon Judy. He says, hey, Trev, in my opinion, the visuals were eye-popping for this episode. I'd love to get your thoughts on them. So that's for the premiere for Season 7 he's talking. So, man, the visuals were stunning. I liked the fire smoke. I call it fog. It's kind of like fog. It's like, the smoke from the fire. They were even able to throw in some zombies in this episode, which I wasn't expecting to see almost any zombies at all. But they were able to throw some of them in, which is cool because it keeps it Walking Dead. You've got the zombie's head that kind of detaches when Rick's hanging from it, which is awesome. Negan saving Rick, and at least at that part. And in terms of the brutality of the kills, I mean, the bat coming down, the first crack and the blood and everything, and then the visuals of Glenn's face and his eye and everything. Oh man, really brutal. The right-hand man sneak peek as well, and the blood splatter being flung and everything. It all made perfect sense, and the visuals were amazing. They were really, really great. Greg Nicotero does an amazing job, and that's one of the big differences between The Walking Dead and Fear. With Fear, you don't have somebody like that on to direct episodes and stuff, so you're not going to get those same visuals as you'll get like the Merle zombie, the Shane zombie, some of these really, really classic visuals for The Walking Dead, or eye-popping Glenn, which we can add to that list now of incredible visuals he's able to put together somehow. I have no idea. Next one's from the Mark Shark, and he says, I think people won't view this episode as one of the best ever because it was just so dark. It was bleak, almost to the point where it isn't enjoyable. And then he puts in brackets, I really enjoyed it, though. No Sanctuary had the action with the group escaping, and No Way Out had the epic fight for Alexandria. This episode, however, had no awesome or epic heroic moments. It had no victory. It was just completely sad and dark. And I thought that was a great comment, so I wanted to add it in here for the case for best episode of Walking Dead ever. I still think I'm going to go with No Way Out for the best episode ever, and I think you've hit on a really important point. Why? You're right. It's not that type of episode, and it's not. It shouldn't be. It's supposed to be a downer type episode. It's supposed to be that kind of episode, and for viewers, and it is. So I think I still got to go with No Way Out as like the ultimate zombie apocalypse episode. Too Far Gone's up there too. No Sanctuary, and somewhere in there, top 5 for sure, has to be The Day Will Come When You Won't Be, but I don't think I put it as number one, even as incredible as it is. I think it's probably the biggest episode ever, but I don't know if you could say it's like the best episode ever. Like if you were going to show somebody one episode of Walking Dead to get them hooked, which one would it be? I don't think this is the one to show them. So granted, you got to know the characters and everything to get it, but it's definitely a downer episode. It's a really sad episode, and it's supposed to be. So it's just kind of what it is. Barack Obama says, his name Barack Obama. How do you think Shane would have handled Negan if he was in Rick's shoes? Well, he wouldn't. He probably would have handled him just about the same way. I mean, there's nothing more that Shane would have probably been able to do than Rick did do. I mean, even if, and some people pointed out, it's Rick's group failure, it's the survivors' failure that they didn't do reconnaissance, they didn't research, they didn't take anybody and maybe tie them up and question them until they find out about Negan. They just didn't get the intel, they didn't get the information, and that's absolutely true. They did fail with regards to that. Could Shane maybe have pushed that a little bit more? Well, maybe, but one way or another, Negan's going to kill at least one of you. So no matter what, I mean, yeah, you're not gonna get off scot-free with Negan anyway. He's going to show you the normal way that they do it is they kill one person from each group right away. So with the Saviors, so in this case they killed two, but it's like whatever. So yeah, Shane wouldn't have been able to make any difference really, I don't think. Might have even been worse because Shane is probably would be more evil than Rick is at this point. I'd say Shane's would have been a pretty good bad guy to follow, like the governor or something for sure. Next one's from Lord Gaben, and he says, "Hey Trev, do you think this could cause a conflict between Daryl and Maggie? So because Daryl punched Negan and then afterwards Negan kills Glenn." No, I don't think so. I mean, a lot of people seem to be upset with Daryl. They touched on it on Talking Dead. But no, I mean, I wouldn't think so. If you think of it too, Daryl's used in this case as a plot device because really they decided that they were going to do a double death. They were going to kill off two characters, and Kirkman has defended keeping the Glenn death the same already publicly. He's done interviews on it and that because there's too many things that happen later in the story that are started by the Glenn death, so he didn't want to change it that far away from the comic book series version. So no, I don't think so. I mean, did he cause it? Yeah, in terms of that world and that story and how things are playing out. But I mean, it's not like he knew that Negan was going to do that, and Maggie will probably only blame Negan for that. Plus, Daryl's being taken now, and he's going to be punished for what he did anyway as well. So you wouldn't think that Maggie would still be angry at him, after that. I don't think so. Next one's from Harambe. Should probably be mad at Negan though, because he's the one who actually did it. Double death was dumb as F. Should have just had Glenn die instead of both Glenn and Abraham. Abraham was my favorite. I'm so pissed. A lot of people are. A lot of people's favorite was Abraham. So, I mean, it's just the way the show goes. And sometimes your favorite characters probably will get killed. Some of my favorite characters from the show, Shane was one of my favorites at that time. Merle was one of my favorites at that time. I mean, as badass as Daryl is, Merle maybe is even more so. Very cool character. So, a lot of people like Tyrese. A lot of people like other characters. I mean, it's just the nature of the show, right? It's what it is. Jesting Jester says, Trev, did you hear about the people saying they're boycotting the show? Apparently the deaths were too violent for them and they got triggered or something. I can't see why. Maybe they'd maybe want to stop watching if Abraham and Glenn were their favorites, but they're complaining about having gore into a zombie show and demanding a boycott. The brutal aspect of the episode was absolutely vital to the emotional impact the audience is meant to receive. To quote Negan, "You bunch of pussies." It says, nice message, Jester. I mean, that's the show. That's what it is. It's cable, but a lot like Game of Thrones. This is not for the faint of heart. This is an intense show, and it does have some horror aspects in it, and it's not always going to have a happy ending in every episode, and that's to be realistic. I mean, if you're in a zombie apocalypse or you're in a medieval type world, the good guys don't always win. The good guys often lose, and you could even make the case that the good guys maybe have a disadvantage to the bad guys because the bad guys are able to do things the good guys aren't. They have restrictions. And, we like to think of this karma thing as like a real thing, but really there's lots of evil people in the real world that get away with all kinds of stuff. Of course, we don't hear about it because it's not in the news because they got away with it. When they do get caught, it's like, oh yeah, so it's like, yeah, but I'm sure there's lots more people that do bad stuff and they get away with it, right? So absolutely, most of the time they probably get away with it. We probably only hear about the times when people get caught for the stuff they do, which is a small percentage probably. Boycotting the show, it's like, okay, well, I don't believe them, to be honest. People said the same thing about Game of Thrones, and the ratings just go up year by year by year, even when they kill off like the Red Wedding and stuff, and people are like, I'm done with this, and the show just explodes even more so. So it's not a bad thing for your characters to lose sometimes. In real life, you win some, you lose some. You don't always win 100% all the way. And if you go to war or something, you're never going to have a flawless victory and 100% not lose anybody. There's going to be casualties on both sides in any war, any battle. That's just the nature of it. Negan's not really more evil than Rick's group is. Rick's group went through and they cleaned out an entire section of saviors. Now, granted, Rick's group doesn't act like the saviors and they don't attack other groups and do stuff like that without being provoked. But at the same time, still, too, they wiped them out. They didn't keep any of them alive. So, it's what it is. Negan's not really that bad, considering Rick, had the tables been turned, Rick probably would have killed all of them with no questions asked, I would think. Next one's from Josh B, and he says, I know at least Abraham died rather quickly. Negan just leaves Glenn after hitting him once. He's trying so hard to talk to Maggie even after taking the bat to the head. That was the most brutal episode yet. The fans wanted, the creators certainly delivered. It was the most brutal episode, especially that part was maybe the most brutal thing in the whole show. I would have to agree. Louisville UAW says, Q&A, Negan is working straight out of Special Forces Insurgency Handbook. There was no randomness at all to who he killed and took prisoner. Our group seriously crippled the Saviors, and he needs their guns and on his perimeter. He had prior knowledge of who was among the men and removed the likely troublemakers. And that's true that, definitely Abraham was not scared. He did not look as scared as some of the others. So as such, Negan sees him as a threat. And then Louisville says, what his spy did not tell him is this group is atypical. They have never been robbed, raped, defeated, and the women are more capable than what he is used to intimidating. Some interesting thoughts for sure. I like the call out that he did pick Abraham right because Abraham was not scared of him at all. So you'd think, and that's what he wants. So yeah, that's a good pick from him, from his perspective. I'm not saying from ours, I'm saying from his. Lewis, Mr. Zombie Guy Martin says, hey Trev, Q&A, do you think Maggie will be mad or pissed at Daryl? Similar type of question to before. So I'll just kind of go over it quick. I don't really think so, no. And the last one's from Jay Morris. He says, Q&A, do you believe that the premiere was Andrew Lincoln's best performance yet in The Walking Dead? He poured so much emotion into it. I think it really shows how astonishingly amazing he is at doing the role as an actor in general. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. Thanks. So for Jay Morris, yeah, he did an amazing job. He always does, and he's definitely one of the best actors in the show. And he's got to get an Emmy at least one of these years. I mean, he is awesome. And, you couldn't ask for anybody better to play Rick. I think the way he portrays emotion and everything he does, he's fantastic. So very happy with everybody's acting, I want to say, in the premiere. And, that'll wrap it up for this one, guys. If you liked the video, if you missed the other Q&A before, check it out before tonight with episode 2, because there'll be lots of new videos coming for episode 2. Write all your comments below. Let me know what you guys think. Ramsey versus Negan, who would win, first of all, and second of all, who's more to be feared? Who would you fear more personally? So, great comments. Had a good week, guys. Excited for week 2. And if you guys like this video, as usual, same with the other one, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite, and if you're new and you want to subscribe, bottom left to subscribe. I'll see you guys back again tonight, of course, for all the usual videos. You guys know what to expect. I won't recite. And that's it for this video, guys. I'll see you again tonight. As always, it's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon.
You better subscribe.